What up, everybody? Meech grew up on the southwest side of Detroit with his parents, Charles and Lucille Flannery, and his younger brother and sister, Terry and Nicole. The Flannerys struggled to get by, having their lights and water cut off on a regular basis. Charles was a factory worker, and Lucille worked at Wendy's. The Flannery family was also a Christian household who attended church several times a week. Charles was a church musician and passed his love for music down to his sons. Meech first met a drug dealer named Pat when he was just a kid, around 13 to 15 years old, at a gas station. Meech saw a couple girls from school and offered to buy their stuff, but wanted them to wait outside so they wouldn't see him using the government stamps. When the girls wouldn't wait outside because of the cold, the gas station attendant got impatient and told Meech just to pay with the government stamps, causing the girls to reject Meech and turn around and pay for his stuff instead. When Meech got outside, he was approached by Pat, who saw the whole thing go down. Pat then gave Meech a few $100s and told him to never be ashamed of where you come from. Not too much longer after this, Meech dropped out of school and was supposed to start a job at Wendy's. But he quit his job at Wendy's the first day and decided to take a job working for Pat instead. When Meech initially went with Pat, his brother Terry also wanted to go, but Meech told Terry there was only room for one at first, before Pat stopped the car and told Terry to get in. And from that day forward, the 50 Boys were established. Fast forward to the BMF Season 1 timeline that was somewhere in the mid to late 1980s. And from the very first scene, we can see how Meech's mindset differentiated from other drug dealers. The 50 Boys, Meech and T, were meeting up with the 12th Street crew, led by J-Mo. And this is what Meech had to say to J-Mo. There's enough money and food out here for us all to eat. Now, if we pulled our money and resources together, we could be like the Italian mob. But J-Mo and the 12th Street crew wasn't hearing it, which caused T to pull out the strap he had snuck into the school, which caused Meech to give 12th Street the territory they wanted because of his brother's stupid decision. And as a result of bringing the gun to the 12th Street meeting, Lucille found the gun and thought it was Meech's, and because of that, Charles put Meech out the house. Around this time, the Flannerys were also facing foreclosure, but Meech paid off the mortgage. At this point in time, Meech also had a cop and a baseball coach named Detective Von Bryant on his payroll. And it was also around this time that Lamar the Beast Silas had just got out of the mental institution, who Pat warned Meech about upon Lamar's release. To make matters even worse for Meech, Meech was in a relationship with Lamar's baby mother, Monique. Then at the very end of episode 1, Terry was shot in the side of the face. Lamar then put the word out on the street that it was J-Mo who shot Terry. This caused Meech to use his cop on payroll, Detective Bryant, to bring J-Mo to him. But Bryant specifically told Meech to ruffle his feathers, nothing else. But Meech's closest friend, who he had known from the time he was in the 2nd grade, B. Mickey, shot and killed J-Mo, not knowing Meech's arrangement with Bryant. Because of this, Bryant went from being a friend to being one of Meech's biggest enemies. It was also around this time that the 50 Boys were starting to outgrow Pat and wanted to cop their own weight. But Pat wouldn't let them because he was micromanaging them and trying to keep them under his thumb. Then one day when dropping off a payment, Meech found out that Pat was turning into a basehead, and he knew it was time to move on. This caused Meech and Terry to reach out to a new plug named Big L. But Big L didn't want to do business with Meech because she felt like he was too flashy, but said she would only do business with Terry. But Meech really didn't have a problem with that as long as they were getting the weight. And Big L sold Meech and T 5 kilos to start off. They were officially up from under Pat. So that meant the 50 Boys were finished. Meech now had plans to begin wholesaling product to other dealers, including his own 50 Boys crew. Dealing with Big L, Meech and T went from 5 keys to 10 keys. But the big problem was that Terry no longer wanted to be in the game, but decided to get out the game and use his settlement check to start a car service, leaving Meech without a plug. At the end of season 1, Meech also put down Lamar, who had been causing Meech problems all season long, robbing his stash house, killing Nicole's boyfriend, and is also believed that Lamar is responsible for shooting Terry. At the beginning of season 2, Meech was in Vegas running product for a dealer named K9, who Meech was hoping to start buying his product from. K9 agreed to put Meech on, and the first time he dealt with Meech, he gave Meech 20 bricks. K9 also took on a mentorship role with Meech and was teaching him the next level of the drug game, K9 taught Meech things like trust and loyalty, as well as having a legit business so you can clean your money. He also taught Meech the principle that if someone violates, then you have to demonstrate. And he did that from the jump by giving Meech Big L's lips as a gift because she talked too much, trying to give Meech a bad reputation. And it was also around this time that BMF was officially established, as the 50 Boys and 12th Street merged, either though it was short-lived. But since Meech now had the extra weight, his next goal was to expand BMF into Cleveland, Ohio, and he initially did this using his cousin James. But at this point in time, Meech also had two serious problems. First being that B. Mickey was now working with Detective Bryant, who was trying to arrest Meech, and Lamar, who Meech thought was dead, had woken up out of a coma. So as Meech was on the way to a meeting to get arrested by Bryant, Lamar pulled up at Coney Island parking lot and shooting up Meech's car, hitting Meech in the process. Meech then went to recover at his baby mother Lori's house as Terry decided to get back into the game. But the driver that Terry was using got arrested, so Meech and T decided to get out of town and made their first trip to Atlanta. Also during this time, there was a drought that hit, and K9 was no longer dealing with Meech. Because of all this going on, the two brothers were running on E, on their way to Atlanta. So on the way to Atlanta, they stopped in Cleveland to take their cousin James' car, who had lied about being robbed, but bought a car instead of paying Meech the money he owed him. In Atlanta, they met a lady named Goldie, who they eventually hooked up with and scammed a man named Big Mike in a dice game out of a significant amount of money. It was never said how much exactly, but when Mike went back looking for Goldie, he said Meech owed him $100,000. Meech and T used the money they got off Mike to buy 5 bricks from their friend Ty Washington. And Ty Washington had a friend named Pike that helped Meech and T turn the 5 bricks into 10. So Meech and T was on the way back to Detroit with 10 bricks. And once they moved those 10 bricks, Meech went to talk to K9 about copping up front, only to find out that K9 owed his Colombian Connect Cena $20 million and had no plan on paying him. Meech saw that as an opportunity because obviously K9 had cut ties with Cena. So Meech had K9's cousin set up a meeting between the Flannery brothers and Cena. During this meeting, Cena agreed to work with them and gave the brothers 300 keys. Like K9 said, Meech was now officially a boss. Meech then made a trip back down to Cleveland to set up shop again. This time, instead of using his shady cousin James, he went straight to the boss of Cleveland, a guy named Bleak, and one of his soldiers named Stone. Meech's next move was to plant the BMF flag in Atlanta. But that wouldn't come as easy as Cleveland. When leaving Magic City, an op named Remy Ransom and his boy shot at Meech and the crew, killing Ty Washington in the process. Also while in Atlanta, Meech's other baby mother, Monique, was killed by Lamar. So the crew came back to Detroit, where Meech crowned Terry the king of the D, with Meech having plans to move to Atlanta and expand BMF all over the map. Getting us to BMF Season 3, dropping March 1st. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.